Okay, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about some more networking stuff. And remember, we talked about how you looked at TCP/IP. And just one more time, how we got here. We went to our system preferences. When we got to Wi-Fi, we clicked Advanced, and now we're at TCP/IP. And when you do that, you can see your IP, and that's the number that the router assigns you when you join a network. And here I am now at Casa La Dink, and so as you notice, my IP is vastly different than that 10.1 point whatever number that we might have had when we were at Smoky Valley. And notice that my router is also different. Just a little trick. You can check router settings. When you go home and do this, you can actually copy the IP of your router. This is my home router. When you put that IP into a browser, it's going to ask for the login and password for your router. I'm not going to show you what that is, but you can see that I have a Netgear R7000, which is a Netgear Nighthawk router. Guys, make sure at home that your router is locked down just like your Wi-Fi is locked down. And you need to be able to check that. So somebody in the house had to set this up. You need to check it out, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to show you a couple things, and I'm going to show you how to ping something, which means you're going to send a signal somewhere and have it come back and measure the time and speed at which it does it. That's a good way for you to check the speed of your network. So and it's a really good thing to be able to do if your network is having slow times or slow speeds. So one of the things I can have you do is go to what's called IP Chicken. And when you look up IP Chicken, and now I'm at home, I'm not at Smoky Valley, but what it's going to show me, it says current IP address. Now this is not actually my IP, it's the gateway to my network. So it won't go into my home, but it'll stop at the gateway. I can tell where my pipeline is. This is the IP for my pipeline. So anybody who is sharing Cox my Cox pipeline in this area, that's our gateway. And that's kind of a good thing to know, because if you're having trouble with the speed of your network, understanding where your gateway is can help you talk to technicians and say, hey, here's where my gateway is. Track down and see what any speeds that you see fluctuating. That's a good thing to do. Notice also that it can even tell me that Cox.net is my provider. It tells me what remote port we're using right now. It'll even tell me what browser I use. And so I've got Firefox. Yep, I got a Macintosh with Intel Mac OS 10, 10.5. That's my operating system. It'll say that I've got an Apple WebKit, which is basically what allows my browsers to see the web. And then it'll even tell me that I am also running Chrome and Safari. It'll tell me the versions as well. Yeah, it can see that much. So when you click current IP and you're at school, again, you're not going to get the IP of your computer, but the IP of the gateway to our network. Make sense? Okay, so that's kind of cool. That's called IP Chicken, and you can actually check your gateway that way. Here's something else for you to know. I'm going to use a tool on my computer called Network Utility. And what I've done is I've already gone and I've searched for it and opened it up. You see it says Network Utility, and it says info, and it's going to give me, it gives me my MAC address for my computer. It tells me I can check things with my IP. Okay. I can actually connect things and check the speed of my network. I'm going to look where it says ping. Now, I've kind of set this up already, but I'm going to put an address here. And a ping is a complete round trip sent from your device to another location where you measure the speed. So it's a full cycle. It goes and it comes back. Just like when you are searching on the internet, when you send your page to look for something, like if you're trying to go to Nike.com, sending the command to Nike.com is called the upload speed. When the page registers that you're calling for it and returns to you, that's called the download speed. And you want high download speeds and fast complete cycle speeds. And to measure that, you ping that network. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to look up cox.net. Now that's my provider. So when I look that up, look, it gives me the IP of their outgoing router. Nifty. Now I'm going to ping that. So I'm going to measure the speed that leaving my network going to Cox and back. That's always a good thing to measure. Why? Well, because I want to know what Cox, it's pretty hard for them to deny network speed if my ping to their stuff and return to me is slow. So I'm going to look for 30 pings. I'm going to measure the speed, and then I'm going to see if I have what's called packet loss. Packet loss means any information that would be coming and going gets dropped. And if you have a percentage of packet loss, that's really bad. Ideally, you want 0% packet loss. So here we go. The ping has started. And if you notice, it says it's going from my gateway to cox.net. And if you notice, it's going to ping at 30 pings. And if you notice, on average, the pings are different time speeds. Some are 51.8, looks like here's a low one, 48.19 millisecond, 52.169, 52.445, and these are in milliseconds, okay? That's a pretty decent speed. Now here's what I want you to see at the bottom. So there's 30 pings. And at the bottom it says 30 packets were transmitted. In other words, 30 pings were transmitted, 30 packets received, 0% packet loss, round trip. The average was 48.190. And this is kind of the minimum, the average, well, I guess the average is 51, and then the max. And here's what you want to do, guys. For me, when I'm checking things, I will do this, especially if I'm noticing slow times. That's when I'll ping, and then I'll compare that to when I have fast times, and I'll see if I have packet loss. I have had my network where I had up to 60% packet loss. I will tell you, I didn't like that. And if you call and talk to a technician and you can say, look, I just pinged my network to your DNS server, and look, here's my average and here's my packet loss. Yeah, you speak their language, and you can actually have them come check things out. For me, you can copy this information and actually email it to your provider and say, look, here's what I got. I have packet loss. What are you going to do about it? So this is a good way for you to start checking that actual stuff. You can actually trace route too. You can enter the network address and trace the internet route. So watch this. So it's actually showing me the path that sending that ping went on. These are actually all of the networks that it crossed and used to get to google.com. And if you notice, it took place in milliseconds. All right? Yeah, pretty cool. Tracer route's just a fun thing to see how a web network actually works. It's pretty neat. Notice that we got whois also. You can also look for a server. Let's see if I do. So if you notice, it's looking, and it's tracking Smoky Valley. Let's get down here, see. Yeah, it's going to give me information of where I can go to find out further information on the actual server. But check that out, guys. You can find out total information. Amazing. Port scan, I'm not going to really show you and talk about, but you can see how this could definitely be something that would help you. And that's one of the things to learn about a network. Adios.